Hunter, and if you're new here, I'd love for you to subscribe to stay up to date on all my videos. I love to make videos on intentional living, specifically around sustainability and self-care, slow living, and spirituality. So I recently posted a video about how to manage loneliness during coronavirus, because this is just such a wild time. And I mean, now we're like, I think I'm 35 days into quarantine, so it's like really settling. And that video got a lot of response, and I got a lot of messages from you guys saying like that you're feeling lonely or that you're really struggling, and I hate that for you. And so I have been trying to brainstorm other ways that I could help support you during this lonely time. And what I came up with and the video that I'm sharing with you today is 10 journal prompts to help combat loneliness. So these journal prompts aren't really like your everyday journal prompts. They're more about combining your thought with action. So what are some steps that I can take to kind of help me manage feeling lonely during this time? How are these different things that I can feel supported? And so these are really like hopefully concrete tips to help you get to that place of feeling better supported and not feeling quite so lonely during this crazy, crazy time. So I'm gonna get right into it. I wrote all the prompts down in my journal, and I hope that this can be helpful for you. Before I start journaling, I love to get into a grounded space and really disconnected from like the outside world and more focused on my inner world. And so to do that, I do a couple things. I love having crystals around me because they help me to feel really grounded. And I'll usually make like a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. It's the afternoon right now, and I would be up all night if I drank tea or coffee right now. So I'm not going to do that, but you should definitely do that. And another thing is that I love to light incense. So I actually have a lighter here. Just whip that one right out for you. But I'm going to light this. And incense has such a strong grounding smell to me that it instantly helps me feel more connected, less distracted. It kind of brings focus, so I love to use it as often as I can. You might see a lot of smoke. And then you can also just light a candle. I'm also going to light a candle because, I want to be extra today. So now that I feel really connected, ready, I've kind of sat with my journal for a few minutes. I love to do some breathing exercises, so we can do that really quick if you want. So we can breathe in through our nose, hold it at the top, and then exhale through our mouths. Do it a couple more times. Hold it, and then exhale. And this kind of just helps clear that energy, anything that's stagnant in my body, and then I'm kind of ready to dig in. So the first journal prompt is, hug yourself for 30 seconds. How do you feel? So I love to give myself a really big hug and remind myself that the most important thing for me is that I know that I'm safe, that I'm protected, and that I have everything that I need. It's all within me. There's no one else that's going to give that to me. It comes from within. And so when I hug myself, I can really feel how supported I am, and I can feel strong, and it just helps bring me back to reality and say, okay, I can do this. So hug yourself for 30 seconds and then write down in your journal, how does that make you feel? The second journal prompt is, write about a time you felt supported in the past. Then answer this, I feel supported when. It's really helpful to think back to another time where you felt like, okay, I handled that, or okay, this situation taught me this, or okay, this is how I got through that tough time, and that's how I felt supported during that time. And so kind of going back to that and thinking about it and focusing on it will really help you to remind yourself that you've been here before and that you're going to get through it, because you got through it last time, you're going to get through it again. The third journal prompt is, what can you do for someone else right now? A lot of times we can get in our heads a lot about things, and I can say this because I'm like the number one person who does that. I'm always in my head and blowing things out of proportion and making them more than they need to be. And so it really helps me to remind myself that there's so much more going on around in this world, and to get a little perspective is to do something for someone else. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, I was feeling really low, and so I decided to bake some cookies for our neighbors. And when I got back from taking them over there was a package at my door, and another friend had mailed her little gifts for her babies to have, and it was just so sweet. And she was like, I could see that the energy that I was putting out, I was getting back. Even if it wasn't from that same person, it was still coming back around. So If you're struggling and feeling supported, try supporting someone else and then see how that energy returns to you. The fourth prompt is, who is your biggest cheerleader and why? If you'd like to have more support in your life, what are some steps you can take to build a better support system? So if you have someone in your life that you know is like just gonna show up for you, like they're always gonna be there. I have a friend that lives literally on the other side of the country, and I know that she's always gonna check in on me, and she's going to like text me or call me at least at some point during the week. And that really makes me feel supported and feel loved, and it helps me know that I'm not alone. That even though I might be feeling alone right now, I'm not, because I always have support from her. Sorry, this incense is like going wild. I'm gonna put it in this direction. There we go. And then if you don't have someone like that, if that's not really calling to you right now, think about how you can invest your time and invest yourself into building a support system, because you gotta be a friend to have a friend. You gotta put yourself out there to get something back. And so it's just a good way to kind of write about the things that you can do so that you can set yourself up for a better support system in the future. The fifth journal prompt is to create 3 positive affirmations that you can use throughout the day or when you're struggling. Affirmations are so important to me. I literally write things down all the time and hang them up on my mirror or on the wall so that it's the first thing that I see when I get up, because I really think that if you get your mindset in the right place, it can set you up to have a successful day, therefore a successful month, therefore a successful life. So it's really about focusing on your internal. We can't change all of this craziness happening outside of us, but what we can change is how we react to it, how we emerge from it stronger, more connected to each other, more connected to ourselves, more connected to the universe. And so that's really what we want to focus on. So I encourage you to write down 3 positive affirmations that really speak to you. They can be something as simple as, I'm grateful for this home I have today, or I'm grateful for this breakfast that I'm eating, or I see beauty in all things, or I am fully safe and supported, or I am healthy and happy. Those kind of things, like so simple. They don't need to be really complicated, but they just kind of elevate your day and add a little bit extra, and they're gonna get you in that right mindset to really feel connected to the world and supported, and most importantly, connected to yourself. Okay, so the 6th journal prompt is, what would you say to your best friend if they were feeling lonely right now? They probably are. Maybe you should reach out. I love this prompt because a lot of times I find that if I'm talking about a loved one, like if I'm talking about my sister or my best friend or my husband, I speak with such kindness, such love for them, and 0 judgment. Whereas when I speak to myself, I hold all of this judgment, all of this, shame or not hatred, but like anger towards myself. I just hold myself to such high standards. So when I'm speaking towards someone else, I don't have any of that. All of that is gone. So think about someone in your life that you really care about and that you love, and then think about how you would speak to them and talk to them if they were feeling lonely. And it's a good way to kind of like look at yourself and be like, oh, I would be there for them. I would say these things. Well, that's what I need to say to myself right now. It's just a good little tool to kind of help you through this. Okay, so the 7th prompt is, write out your ideal morning routine that would set you on the right track every day. I know that there are days where you just want to sit on the couch and watch Netflix. I totally get it. I have been there. I will probably be there next week at some point. But it's really important that we really stick to routine right now. If our home is still really strong, which is like our body, our minds, our souls, our physical space, if that's all neat and tidy and feeling comfortable, then we can keep moving forward in a positive direction. So I love to think about like, okay, what would be my best morning routine? And then trying to start out the day like that. Because I find that if I start the day with a good routine, I can usually like push that on through the rest of the day. And it just helps me feel more positive, helps me feel better, helps me feel less lonely. Okay, so the 8th journal prompt is, what is your biggest fear when it comes to being lonely? Something that my therapist used to do with me was he would say, give me a scenario. And I would tell him the scenario, and then he would say, okay, like lead me down the path. Like, what are you fearful of? Like, what is the worst thing that's gonna happen in this scenario that's in your head? And I would tell him, and I would get into this crazy story, and all of this stuff would happen, all in my head, of course. And then I would get to the end, and I'd be like, and then I died. And he'd start clapping, and he'd be like, yeah, you died. You made it to the end. Like, that's the worst that can happen. At the end of the day, like, you're gonna die. That's the worst. And so then he started like taking me back through all of the steps and saying, now what's a positive thing that's gonna happen instead of this negative thing? And how can you kind of rewrite that story with a more positive outlook? Of course, terrible things might happen and might lead you down that road, but what are some other things that might happen instead that could be really beautiful? So I encourage you to write out, like, what is your biggest fear with being lonely? Is it the fact that you think that you're going to be lonely for forever? Because you and I both know that that's not true. Is it the fact that it's bringing up those feelings of abandonment from childhood or from a relationship or anything like that? Well, then let's deal with that. There's always usually an underlying emotion attached to what we're feeling. And so yes, of course, it's totally valid for you to feel lonely right now. It's totally valid for you to be scared. But maybe we can kind of dig a little deeper and see what we can find instead and try to change that and make it into a better outcome. The 9th one, it's a bit cliche. It's what are you grateful for today? I know every single journal prompt ever probably has this, but it's so important. It's the same thing with like the journal prompt that was, what can you do for someone else right now? When you get out of your own head and you say, wow, look, I have a home that I'm so grateful to be living in. If you still have a job, I have a job. If you are still able to eat dinner, to put food on your family's plates, wow, I can feed people. It could be as simple as, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I get to walk my dog this morning, that I have legs to walk them. I'm so grateful that I listened to this amazing song this morning and it just made me so grateful to have music in my life. I'm so grateful that my mom reached out. Like, if you think about things like that, you start to notice that the little things every single day add up to becoming the big things, and that those little things are actually filled with so much gratitude. And so if you send out gratitude, that's naturally going to take the place of fear, of loneliness, of troubles, and replace it with positivity, joy, groundedness, just overall thankfulness for this like life that we're living. And then the last journal prompt is, what is one lesson you want to learn during this time? Whew, let's take that one in. I wish that our world didn't need to get to this point for us all to slow down a little bit, for us all to reevaluate our values and what matters to us in life. But I also think that it's been a beautiful thing to see people really spend time with their families, spend time with themselves, get really focused on what they want in life, myself included. I feel that same way. So I think that it's good to kind of restructure our brain process and say, what am I going to learn during this time? And view that as a positive. So, okay, I'm feeling lonely. Instead I'm going to pour myself into this online course, or I'm going to learn how to meditate, or I'm going to create a really strong morning routine. Like, these are things that can help you feel better, today, but in the long term, we could really grow from this time. And so don't view it as this horrible death sentence that you've been given. View it as this gift of time, this collective pause that we all have, and try to find joy in that, try to find gratitude in that. Of course, there is suffering. Of course, there are amazing people helping us and working for us, healthcare workers and sanitation workers, and so many people around the globe still going out there every day. And just like honor them by really trying to figure out something in your own life so that this isn't all for nothing. We don't want to necessarily return to normal. We want to return to a new world that is a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more magical. And to do that, we really have to look deep inside and find the beauty within and then kind of push that out. So for me, I've been doing a lot of inner searching, and I don't really know exactly the lesson that I want to learn yet, but I know that it's going to be really special, and I think that I'm already learning it right now, even if I don't have words to put to it yet. So think about that. And there you have it. Those are my journal prompts. I hope that you find this video helpful, that it can alleviate a little bit of loneliness for you, and know that I am always there for you. So if you comment down below, if you message me on Instagram, anything, if you send me an email, I'm going to answer and I'm going to be there and help support you. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to support me. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm trying to post videos every week. I missed last week because was just a hard week, okay? It's quarantine times, but hopefully every week I'll be posting. And yeah, oh, also I have created a little printable that you can download. It's in the description box below. You can click on it and it'll be sent to your email, and it'll have all the journal prompts, and you can go ahead and print them out and then fill them out directly on there, or just kind of like hang them up on your wall or whatever to get a little inspiration. So I really hope that you enjoyed that, and I think that's it. I will see you next time with a new video. Bye!